just done Frigid with Frigid Fluid Company. This is my second episode in English, and we have a really good guest today. She's an embalmer, funeral director, and she's a fun lady who works out of Syracuse, New York. Over the last year, as I mentioned before, I've been able to learn a lot for funeral directors on their practices. I've been able to see a lot of the fun that they have while they're doing their job, working for the families, and it's been a lot of fun. I've been following her for about more than a couple of months, probably 6 months by now, half a year, and it's crazy to see all the content that you can share once you are inside the funeral home. You can show some of the stuff like the cremation boxes that people use, where, by the way, this is great because we have a large audience not only in the US but also in other countries. So it's good for all the funeral directors to see how we work here in the US. But with that being said, make sure that once you watch the show or you're listening to this, if you're watching on Instagram, make sure you give us a little heart. If you're on Facebook, like, and if you're on YouTube, make sure you subscribe. Today's guest, like I mentioned, she's out of New York, beautiful state of New York, Syracuse. Her name is Eileen. She works for Hollis Funeral Home. She has 60,000 followers on TikTok, which is crazy, and I'm sure Instagram is gonna get there soon. But Hollis, Eileen, great to have you here. Please put a round of applause for Hollis, and thank you for being here.
Thank you. It's nice to be here, and it's nice to finally talk to you face to face, computer screen to computer screen.
Yeah, it's amazing. I wouldn't like last year. I get the cell phone notifications or because based on the pictures it showed me where I was last year and what I was doing. And this morning I was looking at it, and last year I was telling my wife about it. I was in another country, and I'm like, I would have never thought that at 12 months from now I would be connected on a Zoom call, on a podcast with so many funeral professionals. So, but it's great because I get to see you here. I love technology. I love all the tools that we have available to us, like the social media platforms that allow us to connect. So I really want to take the time to thank you because the stuff that you're putting out there definitely makes our days a little bit better, and it's a really good energy.
Thank you. And right back at you too. I love your constant support, and you're kind of like rooting me on. You know, I'm just a little funeral director in my own little bubble in Syracuse, and it's nice to reach out to all these other funeral directors on Instagram that I didn't know that they existed until a few months ago. So
That
it's
is
been
good.
really cool to connect with so many women too,
Yeah.
specifically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's amazing. Kudos to all the women that are leading the charge right now. Not
Mhm.
only a mortuary school student, but also the ones that are already working.
Yeah.
I've met a lot of new funeral directors and embalmers, and I mean I've talked to these ladies that some of them are trained embalmers and they do many bodies per day. So kudos to them. But Eileen, I would like to see, is there any chance that you can give us a little bit of a background? I know that you get the chance to work with your dad. I would love to work with my dad. So would you mind tell us a little bit about your funeral home, what you
Yeah.
guys do, and a little bit more just from the overall picture?
Yeah. So I was born and raised in our funeral home. My dad has been there for 40 years. I'm 31. So I just grew up a little dancer. I used to walk downstairs and, knock on the embalming room door and be like, Dad, it's time to take me to dance class. It's time to take me to piano lessons. We gotta go. And, there would just be a body laying on the table, but I didn't think too much about it. I think that the weirdest thing to me was that my dad was in all of this crazy PPE, and I was like, what is this craziness? But living in the funeral home was really exciting and it made for an awesome sleepover. My friends and I would walk down stairs in the middle of the night and try and do like a seance, or, you know, we watched The Craft, a movie from the 90s about witches. So, you know, we tried to do like light as a feather, stiff as a board, and all of that stuff. But
Was there a point in your life that you remember being like, I love this. This is what I want to do, or you just knew that when you got older you were going to work as a funeral director and embalmer, or no?
no, none of the above. I only recently decided that this was going to be my path like 7 years ago. I've been working with my dad for 7 years in December. I was a dance major at SUNY Brockport. I lived in New York and danced there for a couple of years, and then, you know, moved home and was working in a city school teaching like after school dance. And over Christmas break, or the holiday break, I didn't have any source of income. So I was like, all right, let me shadow dad and see what he does. And it was beyond what I could have ever imagined, in like just in my imagination. I just did not know what he did. And like taking care of the body is such a small portion of it. And just being able to communicate with families and stuff, that's like, that was what drew me into it. And I was just like, yeah, this is my thing. I feel comfortable talking to families, and I was actually scared to work on a cadaver for the first time. But it wasn't a big deal. My dad was like, you're not gonna throw up, you're gonna be fine. And I never
Did
did.
you get an autopsy case, the first one, or was
Yes.
it? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I picture. Yeah, it's a
Autopsies. Yep.
that's challenging. The first
It
time
is.
I saw an autopsy case, we were working in Mexico at a seminar, and I will never forget that as soon as we saw that we had about 18 embalmers around the body, and one of the guys said, please, let's go to Tony Ramos after this. I'm so hungry. And I'm like, whoa, this is definitely a very chill scenario for everyone. So I better adapt. uh, and that was fun. That was fun. But but again, that must have been great for you to, work on the body, face everything, and having your dad showing you
Yeah.
around.
Yeah.
That's
Um,
he's always there.
and like in mortuary school, we worked on wax heads and like built those up, and we worked with airbrushing, but I really didn't learn how to like really cosmetize and stuff until my residency. And so I picked up all of dad's like little tricks and stuff and added my own. And yeah, he's been really good letting me figure out my own craft without being too like egotistical about it and like, this is how you're supposed to do it. And I mean, even if he was, I'm his daughter, so I'd be like, let me try it. Let me just try a new way.
Oh, but that's
So,
beautiful, and I'm sure, I don't know, I'm not sure if he has any social media, or he's into the digital world that we live on right now. But I really really like how you share with us some of
yeah.
the personalization that you guys do for the services. I saw
Yeah.
the Johnny Cash video that you put yesterday about he
Yeah.
was a train driver. That is beautiful. Will you tell us a little bit about how much you like that? Is that something that you really enjoy?
Yeah. The best part of funeral directing for me is um, how families choose to personalize the service and all the little rituals um, that they choose to do. Like we have our own rituals. Um, the whole setting up of the ceremony is a ritual, but I love when people want to listen to music, when they want to stick candy bars and like weird things in the casket. Once we had like a person that wanted to stick dead cats in there. So like 5 dead cats that were frozen. So there was like never a dull moment. But I think it's really cool. There's no judgment like to that person who wanted to be buried with their cats, because I'm a cat lady, so I get it. But yeah, and like I love when people want to get involved, like they want to make their own prayer cards, they want to come in and maybe like paint their nails or do their hair. I'm all for that, as long as it's supervised, and if they ever feel uncomfortable, then I can just hop in there and help them for like a second. And so
that is
ritual
great.
is very important in the grieving process, I think.
Yes, we talked a little bit about that before we started the podcast, on some of the rituals that I've seen in other countries, like in the Philippines or in South America. In Brazil, I didn't mention this to you, Eileen, but they cover the casket, the open casket. 90% of the casket's flowers, just beautiful flowers from here down,
That's what
and
I
it's just
want.
go all the way. So I go to the funeral homes there, and I see trucks of flowers, like literally like freight trucks, and it's because they use that so much. And I've seen that, and I've seen, like in Mexico, I see a lot of things. I mean, Day of the Death is coming, and it's the personalization is just beautiful, because it also
Yes.
allows the families to share their preferences, in such a hard moment. But but I've seen some of the stuff that you're doing over there, and it's really nice. And
Yeah.
now I believe you've been with your dad, and you've been an embalmer and field director for about 7 years. If that's something that you will tell Eileen 7 years ago now, that you have such an experience, what would you tell that that mortuary school student that's just jumping into the field?
Relax, relax, because oh my God, when I first started, I felt like I was in the stage of rigor mortis. I was so afraid to offend someone. And so Eileen in the funeral home was very different from Eileen out of the funeral home. But now, and I think TikTok, honestly, it's so cheesy and like kind of silly, but I think TikTok kind of gave me a voice and made me more confident in myself and my knowledge, and just in like what I do in general. So thank you, TikTok, for that.
No, I agree with you
Yeah.
100%, because I've seen how, so obviously I'm not from here. A lot of my families are in other countries, and I see how, like, talking to them via, like my kids, like they see my grandparents, I never see them, but they're so confident talking to them through the camera. Then
Yeah.
once they see them, once they fly in, they just feel like they've been with them forever. So
Yeah.
I believe that that's something that maybe you experience. You're talking to a large audience, you're sharing that, and you see that they like what you do. So that probably gives you some of the confidence to work on that in the real life, right?
Yeah. And just the fact that when people slip into my DMs or in the comments and stuff, and they're like, you inspired me to go to school, like, because of you, I knew exactly what I was doing for my loved one's service. I was like, okay, like that makes it all worth it to me. Like, that's the whole point, is to educate you, like smash all those myths, because there's so many about like AV plugs and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm just here to blow it up.
Great.
The
Now that is
open.
good, and that's a really good advice, because I'm extremely positive that so many mortuary school students, they go into the work field and they're just very stressed and very tight in their practices, which
Yeah.
doesn't allows their mind to just fully express all the creativity and everything that they can do at their job. And I think it's important to decompress at times,
Yeah.
in everything
I
that
think
we do.
for a long time, or like just for the first like 5 years, I just felt like I had to prove that I could do it, because I'm 5'2". I don't have much muscle in here. And everyone always thinks I'm like either the deceased's granddaughter, or like if I say, like, oh, and if you don't have 6 pallbearers, like I can hop in there, and then they laugh, and I'm like, but I just dressed your person and like moved them all around our big huge funeral home, like, you know, come on.
It's amazing, yeah. And it is good that you show them that you can do it, because
Yeah,
definitely they'll get to know that. But
yeah.
it's good, kudos to you for doing that. Now, Eileen, what about your dad right now? Like, is he more comfortable letting you run the show? Is he more comfortable letting you run the funeral home by yourself at times? Like, how does that relationship working?
Oh man, that's been interesting. He's been nothing but amazing. Like he really has. I've been embalming since I got my license, and I think it was a little difficult for him to step aside for a second, because he was a one-man operation for 40 years. Obviously he had help like in certain areas, but he was running the business, doing all the embalmings. He was doing trade embalmings for people. So the man, like, he doesn't know how to sit still. So then for this little sassy lady to kick him out of the embalming room, I think that was hard. But I was like, Dad, like, I'm going to be taking over your business. Like, I need people to know that I'm capable. I need to know that I'm capable, that my body is capable to do this. And I know that, like, I'm learning that there are certain things I can't do. Like, I'm not the best at home removals because I'm tiny and not that strong. But the beauty of discovering all these people on Instagram, all these other funeral directors, it's, you don't have to do friggin' everything. And so I'm starting to chill out, try not to be like a control freak or punishing myself for not, doing everything all the
Yeah,
time. So
yeah, because that's the beauty of the planet where we live. We can always get help from
yeah,
others. We don't have to do it all. It's six, almost 7 billion people now on the planet, so I'm sure somebody else can help you with those things. And it's
yeah,
also healthy for you. You don't want to get to your older your retirement and having your back all messed up, because
yeah,
it's not worth it.
absolutely not. And my dad is aware of that too, and he's aware that he's getting older. We've bought certain like devices, like lifts and stuff, that make it easier to like push cremations in the back of our truck. And yeah, we're just trying to make it work because we're both like the same size too. And I'm moving out of the sun. It's directly in my eyes. Look at, that's your Frigid bottle.
Yes, would you mind showing that?
Yeah, it's filled with disco balls.
That is great. Oh, thank you for sharing
Basement.
that. I saw that on I actually had an embalmer in Peru asking me if I can bring one down there, and I'm like, listen, there are not very many of those, so if I ever get one of those,
I'll have to look. I might have a Frigid one. I know I definitely have a Dodge one. Um, yeah,
yeah,
I'll
well,
look in the basement.
no, yeah, we'll check into that one. But that is good. That is also something that I like, how you show everyone some of the antique stuff that we have in our profession, because there's been
Yeah,
involvement for many, many, many decades. And there's a lot of history in what we do. And what you're doing right now, it's a reflection of the hard work that not only your dad but other embalmers did for many, many
yes.
years. It's just something that I've been learning lately. The third, like, Brian. So Brian is the president of Frigid Fluid Company.
Hmm.
His his uncle was the president like 20 years ago, or his grandpa, and his name was Gilbert.
Hmm.
But he was like me. He traveled all over the world showing some of the products. He will bring the fluids everywhere. And everywhere I go, everybody's like, "Oh yes, I met Gil. What a great guy!" But it's like, so we're working a lot of on the foundation of the hard work that a lot of people did, and this is something that that you're probably pretty proud of what you're doing right now, because it feels like you're following the legacy that your dad built And
Yes.
like you said, from nothing, he was doing all the trade
Nothing.
work, all the embalming, and it's something that I relate a little bit in terms of what we're doing at Frigid, because we're a small company, we're family owned with a large reach, but it's a lot of hard work that some people did in the past that allowed us to share what we do in, especially on these platforms. Like every time I go to Frigid and I see some of the history there, I like to share that.
Yes, the history is my favorite part, really. Every time I see anything related to it, I'm like, oh my God, let me research it like so hard. Um,
It's,
he, Brian, he embalmed his dad, right?
no, that was Matt Smith.
Oh, Matt did.
Yeah, that
Okay.
was Matt. So Matt Smith is he's a director of education for us, but he's the lead embalmer that he consults for us. He
Okay.
actually has been working for us for about, if I'm not mistaken, for like 12, 14, 13 years. Yeah, he was working he was a trained embalmer in Michigan. He's still a trained embalmer. And he
Okay.
started using some of our products, but you got to remember that we invented the casket lowering device.
Yes.
Pretty much like I'm a lot, like a high percentage of the devices that you see on TV or anywhere are a Frigid device. So that was a big part of our business for many years. So Matt, about 12 years ago, he started using the premium cavity, and he was like, this thing is amazing. And there's no much of a promotion for this. We were more of like a local company with some international customers. So he helped us start building that. But when Brian came in to about 5 years ago, Brian is a family member of the company.
Mhm.
He realized that the products were really good, but he's the one who started working with some of the videos that we have on YouTube, some of the content for everyone, because I think that's something that used to be very common in the past, where you couldn't really broadcast how to deal with edema or a tissue gas, because oh no, you got to keep that for the seminars, and that's something that we don't want to.
Yeah.
We want to make sure that we share everything that we know and everything that we learn with embalmers like you, because the
Yeah.
more everybody knows, the better the bodies are gonna look for the communities at the best for the best. Like it's just the best.
Yeah. Monica's Sunday tips, I truly and genuinely enjoy them, and they always teach me something or like reminds me of something that I learned in school, and I'm like, oh yeah, I
Yes,
already
yes,
forgot.
and that is the best because you learn that it also. And I love embalmers like Monica that share everything that they know, because it
Mhm.
keeps your brain in constant momentum of, oh, what should I learn? Well, oh, I should try that. I should give a try to this, because
Yeah.
it's a never ending story.
Yeah. Never ending story.
God,
um
it's you really like music. I remember when we launched the Spotify channel, you gave us some advice, and we created a new channel for you. How did that turn out?
so good. Yeah, that's how I kind of like discovered you guys, because I mean, I met you through Instagram. I listened to the podcast while I was gardening, and then I discovered that you guys made playlists, and I was like, oh my God, like this is the answer to my embalming dreams. And I love that there's a genre for um, each embalmer. So
Yes. And,
I
and
have to listen to music. I actually have my headphones right here.
no, that is great. And that's
It keeps
something that
me
we.
moving. These are
Oh,
they sit right here so they don't squish into my ears when I have like my respirator and like my face shield on and everything.
oh, that is great. Would you mind sharing the tip with other embalmers?
Yeah.
Yeah, about the headphones and how it doesn't
So
hurt. Yeah.
so it just sits right there. And it's not in my ear, so I don't have, and it's wireless obviously, so it's not like catching on a doorknob um or the embalming table, or yeah, no, I
No,
need music to keep me focused and moving
no,
through
that
the
is good,
embalming
and
process.
I'm glad you're listening to those. You listen to the not only the music on Spotify, but also the podcast, because we really want to make sure that we adapt to your needs and your preferences. And that's we haven't talked about it, but that's something that we really spent a lot of time working on, which
Yeah,
was that embalming machine. How about those colors?
it's the KitchenAid mixer. of embalming machines, and they are gorgeous. And yeah, man, I'm saving up every penny of mine, and I'm gonna buy one. I told my dad about them. We just have a porta boy, so, and we've had him for forever. And my dad was like, "Well, I always wanted to get a new one." So
No, and it is good. It's very nice because that the machine has a lot of technology. You know, you can do it has self-cleaning. You can do
yep.
it has an ultrasonic sensor that will detect any blockage in the blood, and it will tell you in the screen. It has a digital screen, safety lead. There are a ton of like you can actually use phenol products on that. There's a
Yeah.
ton of technology on that, but I mean, this is not a secret to anyone. We're all like young professionals at Frigid, and we want to make sure that we keep it fun. And some
Yeah.
of the engineers with Brian and Matt and some of the other embalmers that helped us with the machine, they were like, "Yeah, we can have colors on this. Like, why not? Who
Hell
says the prep
yeah.
room has to be boring?" And we just our mind went crazy. And it's something that it, it didn't take much of a time to come out with that, as much as some of the other testing for like the and you know the modules that would allow us to use phenol. But it's definitely something that everyone loves. And so far the one we've sold the most is the black one, and pink is coming up there as a close second one.
Millennial pink, like
Yes.
the baby pink. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love that. I love the lavender color, or like the green or the blue. I am constantly trying to make our prep room a little cuter. I um I have Tarte makeup brushes that have mermaid tails on the end, and like the wand of it is rainbow. So I have that. And then I have one of the sparkly massage cream brushes from Monica. And I bought glittery gold fabric shears for dressing and whatever. And yeah, I would just cover the whole place in sparkles if I could, but I can't.
No, that is very nice, and that's very neat. Eileen, something that I've been wanting to ask you the whole episode, and I think it's a good time right now. It's that this has been a challenging year. You know, COVID definitely changed the planet for forever. It will
Yeah.
never go back to where it was before COVID. How challenging and how difficult was for you in the state of New York dealing with that, and how challenging still it is for you? Would you tell us a little bit about the experience from a regional standpoint?
Yeah, I think at first, at least in our funeral home, we were freaking out just for our own safety. My dad just turned 70, so I was just convinced that, he was going to go handle a COVID body, and then, he would end up getting it, and then I would have to turn over the business in the middle of a pandemic, which I absolutely did not want to do. But it hasn't, it's been, it's weird because it's been almost like easier for us because it's not as much work, but 100% times harder emotionally for every family member, because you have people that cannot go into the nursing homes, cannot go into hospitals. We had families that hadn't seen their loved one in like 6 months, and so that's traumatic, I think. And there's people that would stand outside of the nursing homes with signs and playing music and trying to like make the best of the situation that they could. But yeah, and then no church, none of that. We only just started doing calling hours again. I think that maybe this was like our 10th one that we had this morning. The time is cut in half. It's just like minor adjustments. You just got to roll with it. It's a ever changing business, and you got to roll with it, or you're going to get rolled over.
Yes, and I know you have a lot of customers from other countries. Did you have an issue with some of the delayed services where you have to wait weeks at a time for their families to, or because of the airport, the travel and restrictions? Maybe some people couldn't come. Like, did you deal with any of that?
Yeah, we just had We had a family from Romania yesterday, and half of the family couldn't come because they're in Romania. But yeah, so little things like that. Also, we deal a lot with Polish families. Um, and so we just haven't been able to like ship them over so fast, or there's always like a delay, or yeah.
Yeah, but like you said, you just have to adapt and then
Mhm.
just adapt and execute at the best you can.
Yep.
But it is something that definitely you and your dad are doing an excellent job. And I just want you to know that for me on the side of what I do, it's really really nice to see you enjoying your job, enjoying what you
You.
do, and sharing that with us because I believe that the people that work the hardest should also enjoy what they do,
Yeah.
and the fact that you can share your phone with others is phenomenal.
Mhm.
It's really nice, and I didn't know you had an artistic background, even with like some education on that, which is, it makes a lot of sense. But it's a lot of fun, and just like me, I know there's literally thousands of people, and that's proven by your followers that
Yeah.
enjoy that. But it's something that is just definitely going to keep growing. Is there a favorite part of your daily routine, Eileen, that you like to share with her? Like, what do you enjoy the most? Like, either because I know you really enjoy showing how do you put your PPEs on fully covered,
Yes.
and I have a lot of fun with that. That is great. Like, I wish I could do those. Is there any part of your daily activities that you truly like to share?
In funeral directing alone, um, I I really, really enjoy the restorative art process. I think a lot of people would say that. Just and it's always kind of like a mystery that I have to solve, because they'll come in, I don't know much about them, I'll embalm them. Then the next day we'll make arrangements and I'll learn more. So then it kind of like unravels, and I'm like, oh, you like Johnny Cash? Okay, let's listen to some Johnny Cash in the prep room. And so we'll do that. Or um, I just like to treat them, I feel like everyone says this, like your family, but I truly look at, like, scrutinize them as if I was the family member looking at them. Like, what's off? Like, is the hand color right? Like, are the nails very clean? I like to bring in like some cologne or like a scent, just because sometimes bodies don't smell, they smell kind of sterile. Um, so I like to have like a familiar scent. I just like all doing all the little touches like above and beyond, like to get them prepared. It's really satisfying. And then coming home after a long day, like that's my favorite too. And like seeing my husband um and just recapping. And I don't even like, I'll tell him a lot of stuff, but he doesn't really care that much. Does your wife care?
Well, yes and no. The thing is that I'm so passionate about anything that I do, where if I go to a cemetery, like when I went to the cemetery in Peru and I saw the 18 feet gravesite, 18 feet deep, I will call her so excited and tell her, oh, look, and she's like, oh, okay, fine. It's like, but what I'm looking at, like content like your stuff on social media, like none of my close friends are in the profession, the funeral profession. So I've been wanting to share some of those things. And some of the funniest thing is when everybody sends me something that somebody shared, because I like that regular day-to-day people are liking what we do in our profession. So just like, my wife likes it a little bit more, some people likes it a little bit more, because you and every content creator, it's opening the door for the community to see that what we do is just phenomenal work. It's just
It's
something
just
that
a
it takes time
job.
and dedication.
Yeah. I yeah, exactly. It's just a job. I don't think, like, some people think that if you're a mortician, you're like goth, or a creepy person or not. And I'm just not that way. I love to go dress up in costumes and go to the mermaid parade in Coney Island every June. And I don't know.
Yeah, no, but that's very unique. I've been training a lot for this ride that I'm going to do in a couple of days. Which, by the way, Eileen, I know that you gave a donation and you put an anonymous name on it, but I want to thank you for that. It's
Oh,
I mean, this is, I know that you didn't want your name on that, but it was very nice of you.
what you guys are doing is so important, and those textbooks are freaking expensive, so it's so important that we get a younger generation in here. At least that's what they say every conference that the
Yes.
New York State Funeral Directors Association, that's what they
Yeah.
say every year. So that's kind of like what I'm trying to do, and I think what all of the morticians on social media are trying to do. And mainly it's just like, everyone in the world, you deserve to know what happens to your body after death. And do you want an embalming? Do you want to be cremated? Do you want to be like hydrocremated? We don't have that in New York yet, but or do
Yeah.
you want just a green burial, simple and beautiful and like covered in flowers? People should be educated about what's happening to their body and what chemicals are going into your body and in the environment. And I just think it's all good information to know. And I don't
Yeah.
think there's any shame in sharing it. And yeah.
No, and but I wanted to thank you for that because, like I said, it's nice that you contributed to the fund, and it's going to help somebody. And I was saying that when I go out in training, I have a Frigid uniform that our boss got for the people who cycle at Frigid. And some of the guys go like, "Oh, this is a super cool uniform. What it says? What team is that?" And I'm just like, "Team Frigid Fluid." And I'm just like, "Oh, what is that?" "Oh, we manufacture embalming fluids and we make cemetery equipment." And they literally go boom to the other side of the peloton because they're a little uncomfortable with that. But at the, like, hey man, it's just like any other profession, it's just stuff that we
Yeah,
do.
it's a
And a
part
lot
of
of,
life.
it's part of life, and it's a big part of life that we should
It's more.
embrace and understand. And the fact, like you said, like, people needs to be educated on what we do, the options. There's a ton of people I know that they don't understand that you can have a view, you can still have a cremation with the viewing. There's a
Yes.
lot of people who thinks that just cremation is direct cremation. And that's something that I also appreciate from you, from Monica, from Matt, from John, from Mel, from anyone who educates the community on those options that they have.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Sorry, there was an airplane going by. I was like, oh God, I hope this isn't messing up his video.
No, it's, yeah, you never know with today's reality. But listen, Eileen, it's I know you're pretty busy. You had a really busy day today.
Yeah.
For those of you who are listening, we have to reschedule this episode a couple of times because Eileen was working at a cemetery. It wasn't too far, but I know that when we started recording, she got a text from her dad saying that she got a really good job. So I'm very proud of you and what you did. But
Thank you,
Eileen,
Dad.
yeah, and thank you. I want to thank you, your dad, and I want to take a moment to thank those funeral directors that educate their family and their kids on how to run the business.
Yes.
Because I mean, my kids are they're under 10, all of them, but I know that it has to be really difficult to balance that relationship with your kids, and also you have to be really difficult to like let it go and let them like realize that they're running the show now. So thank
Real talk. That is like, it's so hard. And because when I get into work mode, I'm very serious about it. And I'm usually like bubbly and everything, but when I'm working, I'm like down to business. So the other day I asked my dad, I was like, am I annoying? Like, do I snap at you ever? Like, do you feel like I'm like just a pain in the ass. And he was like, no, not at all. And he's like, I'm a pain in the ass. And we're just figuring it out. There are days where sometimes I'm like, should I be going to therapy? But
No, but it's
I
good.
think it's healthy to do something like that anyways. And but I have there's a lot of guilt, like doing the whole transferring over the business. And I'm always mentally preparing myself for it. And I'm always mentally preparing myself to the reality that my dad could be gone at literally any moment, and then I would have to go embalm him. Like, it's just a wild thing to think about. And but I just hope that I can carry on his legacy and make him proud and not be like too egotistical in the process. I like just want to stay rooted in my core and my morals. And I really just want to mind the business that pays me. Like, everyone around here, I think they're doing a fine job, and we don't need to be like, we can be friends. We don't have to be, competitors too much.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, and that's and that's something that I believe that there is a tag in, believe it, faith, God, the universe, whatever you want to believe, the higher power that you want to believe on. But when you put a lot of positive energies out there, it's just gonna fill your tank. And
Yes.
whenever, if that situation comes with your dad when he's not gonna be no longer here, you have a tank pretty full of good energy that's gonna be, filling you on the process and everything that you're gonna be doing. And the fact that you've been sharing so much with the community online on what you do, on what we can do, and how we can, provide a better service for everyone.
Yep.
It's amazing. So I want to thank you for that, and thank you for, because I know that you're going to keep doing this, and I want to thank you in advance.
Thank you. And thank you.
Yeah. No,
Thank you
it's
for everything you do. It's so nice to finally talk to you as a
yes.
person. So
No, but it's you're welcome. And it's something that we do. We make exceptional products, but we also want to make sure that you have channels, or like all these platforms that allows you, like, not only, that's why we did the Frigid round, because some people needs to get out and have a nice walk. Just get out and walk, like force yourself to do that. That's why, we have the Spotify, we have all these channels. But it's great to connect with you. It's a pleasure for us to work for you, all you guys. And when you finish this episode, please talk to your dad, tell him thank you from us. It's great.
I created an account with you guys too. So that was a thing. I was like, okay, Dad, well, we're going to be transferring over to Frigid too.
Oh, that is great. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, we have something that we really want to work on, is to make sure that you guys, the platform is easy for everyone to buy. So if you want to buy, you don't need to wait for the sales reps to stop. You just do it over there online. And it's great. So thank you for that. And again, thank you for everything that you're doing. I really look forward to the days when I start traveling again, because I cannot wait to share with you some of the stuff that I see overseas. And who knows, maybe you and your husband can make a little vacation out of that, and come to the countries that we visit.
I would love that. And I would love to go to like the national conference sometime. Now that I like know a couple people, that's something I want to do in the future. And then maybe I'll meet you there and come visit our funeral home. I'll give you a tour. We can make a TikTok.
Yes, I'll do that for sure. And I believe you mentioned your husband also cycles, right?
Yes. We have wonderful cycling here in upstate New York. He can show you any route ever. Like he just knows everything there is to know about bikes, and he can fix your bike. And
oh, that is great. No, but the conventions are going to be great. And that's a good point. I cannot wait until conventions are back, because it's going to be like that year that for some reason there wasn't prom in high school. So, but next year there's going to be prom, and it's going to be fun. People is going to appreciate it a little bit more. It's
for real? They're going to do an actual prom?
No. I'm saying that it was like, I'm sorry. It was just just an example of having something every year that didn't happen this year, and hopefully we'll do it next year.
Right.
It's a lot of fun. You get to connect to a lot of people, and you get to see a lot of new things.
We should definitely do a funeral director's prom, though. I think that'd be really fun.
There you go, free for
Make it
everybody. Yeah,
happen.
that'll be fun. But thank you, Eileen. I hope
Yeah,
you have a
thank
great
you.
week. Yeah, we'll be posting this tomorrow, Thursday, and thank you very much for contributing to the fund. It's great. It's gonna be a lot of, and again, Eileen, you're very creative. So if you think of any other way that Funeral Buzz nonprofit can collect some funds, just let us know. Maybe some art, maybe something. But do you
Yeah.
have a couple of words for everyone to finish that episode?
Just thank you for listening to me. Go follow Hollis Funeral Home on Instagram, and I'm Hollis Fun Home on TikTok, and that's kind of based after the Broadway show Fun Home, which is about a girl growing up in a funeral home. So Hollis Funeral Home, Hollis Fun Home. Let's learn, and yeah.
That's
That's it.
beautiful. Yeah, no, I'll put that information also in the comment section here on either Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube. And again, thank you, Eileen. I hope you have a great rest of your week. I look forward to posting this and share with you. And say hi to the whole family over there. It's a pleasure to have you here. So thank you.
Thank you.